Live from the Carl Chevrolet Studios in West Des Moines, this is Iowa Live.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. You know how much we love telling you about history, things that happened several years ago. But what if we go back a little bit further and tell you about things that happened in Iowa history? And we do that with help from our good friend, Professor Jeff Stein and the Iowa Almanac. And it's time to say, hello, sir. How are you? Long time no see.
Oh, it's so good to see you, Lou. I am well. I hope you are the same.
Yeah, we are doing awesome. The thing we love about the Iowa Almanac is because we can share some tidbits of information and some Iowa history that maybe people are unaware of. And that probably falls into play here today because we're talking about something happened during the Civil War. We all know how involved people from Iowa were in the Civil War. But I'm not so sure they knew the Civil War was actually being fought here in Iowa. Seriously?
It actually is true. You know, you mentioned the people, Lou. Iowa had the greatest per capita number of soldiers of all the states in the Union. There were 76,000 Iowans who fought in the Civil War. But it was on this date, October 12th of 1864, that a Civil War battle was actually fought in the state of Iowa. Just north of the Missouri border near Bloomfield, Confederate forces led by Lieutenant Bill Jackson made their way into the state of Iowa. Jackson led a dozen heavily armed Missouri partisan rangers dressed in Union uniforms, trying to pull a fast one there,
right,
led them on a raid through Davis County. And sadly, that led to the murder of 3 local citizens there.
Wow, and that incident made history, didn't it?
It was the furthermost north of any Confederate incursion during the Civil War. In other words, the folks from the South were making the way to the north. They went no further north than right there in the state of Iowa. And I'm going to stick by that despite, Lou, what the folks near Salineville, Ohio say. They say the farthest battle to the north was in their city. Well, that location is further south of the Iowa site. That's how we get to claim that we're the furthest north. Now, granted, theirs was a full engagement between Union and Confederate forces, more of what you would think of as a battle. That one happened in Ohio.
Yeah, but this battle here in Iowa sounds more like a gang that was in disguise, you know, just trying to, as you mentioned, trying to pull a fast one.
Yeah, they absolutely were. It wasn't a fully engaged battle, but they were still Confederate soldiers during wartime on a raid that led to the deaths of 3 Iowans. And it all happened farther north than anyone else went. It was near Bloomfield in Davis County on this date in 1864. So when we think often of the Civil War, don't we think that's just way down south?
Right.
Yeah, how about southern Iowa for a battle?
Yeah, and then we saw those images that you had of those rocks with the plaques on them, and those are, I take it, at near the site of where all this happened.
Yep, the county society put those historic markers in place because Civil War historians and folks who study that sort of thing, they like to go to various sites. That is the Civil War battlefield in Iowa, the place where Confederate soldiers took out 3 members of the Union.
Wow, how about that? So now when people talk about the Civil War, you can really speak knowledgeably about the fact that, yeah, there was one here in the southern portion of Iowa that took place, a battle that took place, a little bit different kind of battle, but a battle took place nonetheless.
Yeah, and again, no fair wearing the other side's uniforms. I mean, that truly was, there ought to be rules against that, but I guess it's war after all, right? You don't exactly play by rules.
Yeah, no, all's fair in love and war. We've heard all that. You know about, yes, but that's cheating. That's not good. That's not good. People want to go back and relive what you just talked about and get some of the details down so they can talk about it a little bit later on today. What's the easiest way they can do that?
You can listen on some 24 radio stations across Iowa, or go to iowaalmanac.com. The whole story is right there. We also podcast it on wherever you get your podcast these days, Apple and Stitcher and Spotify. iowaalmanac.com, though, is the best place.
Yeah, Jeff Stein, he is everywhere with the Iowa Almanac, just like savoir-faire. So perfect, sir. You take care of yourself. Thank you so much, and we look forward to talking to you next time.
Absolutely. Have a great one.